So in a filing late last week, Johnson and his attorneys responded to the allegations, which include verbal abuse, intimidation, and sexual assault. Now, when I sat down with Johnson today, he had a much different story to tell, claiming he and Donald were in a consensual relationship.
I think now is the right time.
It's been more than a year since former CPD Superintendent Eddie Johnson has sat down for a television interview. Tonight, he's breaking his silence, responding to accusations that he verbally and sexually abused his former driver, Officer Cynthia Donald. Some of the details in the lawsuit, very graphic, very disturbing. She accuses you of sexually assaulting her multiple times, harassing her, calling her demeaning names. How do you respond to these accusations?
I've never been accused of anything like that. I've never forced anyone to do something they didn't want to do. That's just not my character. It's just not. You know, and when people say to me, you know, why should I believe you? Well, I can't tell you what to believe. I can only tell you who I am.
The lawsuit against Johnson and the city of Chicago alleges that Johnson carried out many unwanted sexual acts and told her, quote, "Now you belong to me."
It's difficult to either hear somebody say something like that about you when it's not true, and it's difficult to read it. So it's hard for me to even imagine having to even talk about this now. It really is. It goes against everything that I stand for, everything. I've never been an abusive person, and I certainly never abused her.
Johnson wants the public to believe him, despite the very high-profile incident that tarnished the former top cop's reputation, in which he was found slumped over at the wheel of his car in October 2019. Johnson says there was an issue with his medication and affirms that he was not drunk.
Like I said, I had been drinking that night, but no, I've never had an alcohol problem, ever. You know, I'll go weeks, months without having a drink.
The incident ultimately cost him his job. In a fiery news conference, Mayor Lightfoot announced Johnson's termination, saying Johnson lied to her and the public.
It has become clear that Mr. Johnson engaged in a series of actions that are intolerable for any leader in a position of trust.
Johnson still maintains that he was truthful with the mayor. And while he denies he sexually assaulted Cynthia Donald, Johnson admits that he betrayed his wife by having an affair with her. With you being Ms. Donald's boss and she being your subordinate, is a consensual relationship even possible given that power dynamic?
Well, I think when you have adults know exactly, you know, what's going on. So, you know, but we'll have to get into the legalese of all that.
No HR director ever wants a subordinate relationship with a superior because of the ramifications if the relationship goes awry. But that doesn't create legal liability. To create legal liability, there actually has to be a non-consensual aspect to the relationship. And in this case, it was completely consensual.
His attorneys say Donald is suing Johnson and the city for monetary gain.
To our knowledge, we are not aware of any criminal charges being filed against Eddie, and it's revealing in that her first claim is for damages and not to report this to authorities for any criminal charges.
More than a year after his termination, Johnson says his biggest concern is regaining the trust of his wife, family, and his supporters.
I've tried to be the best person that I could be. I strive to do that every day. But like I said, you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I apologize to those people, you know, and I'm sure they were disappointed. I would be too, you know, but I'm human. And unfortunately, humans are flawed individuals, and we make mistakes, and I made a mistake. You know, I'm not running away from that. One mistake shouldn't define who I am.
Now, in response to Johnson's claims about what he says happened, Cynthia Donald's attorney provided this statement saying, in part, former Superintendent Eddie Johnson has now admitted in his answer to Officer Cynthia Donald's lawsuit that he had, in his own words, an inappropriate relationship in his official capacity with his then subordinate Officer Donald. As for Johnson and his attorneys, they believe the evidence they'll provide, including text messages, will prove that the relationship between he and Cynthia Donald was consensual.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.